Hi there. In this video, I'm going to show you how the compressor works in Ableton Live. If you already understand how compression works, feel free to skip this video. Right, so I'm just going to load in the compressor plugin. You can find it under Audio Effects, Dynamics, and then it's this top one here, Compressor. There are some other different types of compressors, but this one is available on all editions of Ableton Live, so I'll be demonstrating with this. So I'm not going to choose a preset. I'm just going to click and drag this onto my vocal track. So compression is used to reduce the dynamic range of an audio signal. So for example, in this song we have some phrases in the lead vocal that are quieter than other sections. So I'll just play back this little section here.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream, you gotta keep...
You may notice a couple of the words are louder than others. If you look at the waveform, we can see that this word here is quite a lot louder than this word over here. So what we can do with the compressor is reduce the amount of dynamic range and make the audio signal more consistent. So the first thing I'd recommend you do is change the view of the compressor to the collapsed view. That is with this icon here. This is just a good way to start getting your head around how a compressor works. So the first control that I'd like to talk about is the threshold. So the threshold determines the point at which the compressor will start to compress the signal. At the moment, the threshold is set to 0 dB. This means the audio signal will only be compressed if it reaches 0 dB. Right, I'll just play back this phrase.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream...
So you may have noticed we're not actually getting any gain reduction. Gain reduction is displayed on this meter down here. So the audio signal was never actually reaching the threshold. I'll pull this threshold down to about -30 and play it back once again. So to adjust the threshold, just simply click on this little arrow and drag it down. Right, I'll play it back once more.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it.
So as you may have noticed there, you could actually see we're getting a good few decibels of gain reduction in this meter here. The number at the bottom shows us how much gain reduction we're actually getting.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it.
So we're getting up to around 8 or 9 decibels of gain reduction there. So the threshold is being reached almost at all times. You may have also noticed the audio signal is now quieter.
Yeah, when you got a dream. Yeah, when you got a dream.
So that's because this compressor is turning down the volume of the vocal. If I pull the threshold all the way down to -infinity,
When you got a dream, you gotta keep going.
absolutely every bit of this audio signal is exceeding the threshold. So we're getting gain reduction at all times. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the ratio. So what the ratio does is determine how much gain reduction is applied once the threshold has been reached. So at the moment, with a ratio of 4:1, for every 4 decibels that exceed the threshold, only 1 will be allowed through. If we change this to a ratio of 2:1, for every 2 decibels that exceed the threshold, only 1 will be allowed through. So the higher the ratio, the more extreme the compression is. If it went down to a ratio of 1:1, we wouldn't actually get any gain reduction, as for every decibel that exceeds the threshold, 1 will be allowed through. So even the threshold all the way down to -infinity,
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta...
we're not actually getting any gain reduction. Now if I increase the ratio, you'll start to see we're getting more gain reduction.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream, you gotta keep pushing for it. Even when them roadblocks come.
So we could barely hear anything there with the really extreme ratio and really extreme threshold. I'll just set this back to the default. So just to reiterate, the threshold determines the point at which compression is applied, and the ratio determines how severe the compression is going to be. Now, the next thing I'd like to look at is the output gain. So that's this control here. So what this does is allows you to compensate for the gain reduction that the compressor has applied to the audio signal. So I'll set this to about -30 to 1 again, and play the section back.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream, you gotta keep pushing for it, even when them roadblocks.
If I bypass the compressor with this orange icon here,
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream, you gotta keep pushing.
you'll notice there that the audio signal is quite a lot quieter when the compressor is active. And that's because all it's done so far is reduce the volume of the loudest peaks. So what we can do with the output gain is balance it back out. So the loudest points will become quieter. Then when we turn up the volume of everything will come up, reducing the dynamic range and increasing the volume of the quietest sections.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream, you gotta keep pushing for it, even when them roadblocks come, yeah.
You may notice now the audio signal seems a lot more consistent.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream, you gotta keep pushing for it. Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream, you got.
So when applying gain, we want the track to be at around the same volume as it was before the compression was applied. If you look at your gain reduction meter, you can work out roughly how much output gain to add. So the general rule of thumb I like to use is look at the maximum amount of gain reduction that has been applied, then half this number, and increase the output gain by that amount.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it.
So we're getting about 13 decibels of gain reduction at most, so I'll try increasing it by around 6 or 7 dB.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream, you gotta keep pushing for it, even when them roadblocks come, even when it gets hard. That's when you press harder. Yeah, you gotta level up, you gotta keep climbing.
So as you can hear when I play that back, the vocal sounds a lot more consistent. The quieter sections have been brought up, and the loudest words are no longer sticking out as much. If we listen to that with the mix as well.
Yeah, when you got a dream, you gotta keep going for it. When you got a dream, you gotta keep pushing for it, even when them roadblocks come, even when it gets hard. That's when you press harder. Yeah, you gotta level up, you gotta keep climbing, get your hustle up. I'm trying to get to the top because the view different. Man, I push all day because I'm built different.
So that's the main controls you need to get your head round when working with compressor at first. In the next video, I'm going to look at some of the other controls we have in this compressor plugin. Thanks for watching.